Yes, I need the police at the Grand Regency Hotel immediately. There's a suspicious black child in our lobby trying to use what appears to be a stolen credit card. Jessica Martinez, the hotel manager, came rushing over, her heels clicking urgently across the marble floor. "What's the situation?" she demanded, already assuming the worst without even looking at the facts. Ashley, the hotel receptionist's response was chilling. "This kid is trying to scam us. Claims her mom is some big shot CEO. Total lies. I'm not lying. My mom gave me this card." The black girl's voice was shaking, confused, terrified. She didn't understand why these adults were treating her like a criminal. Police sirens got louder and louder. Ashley's face lit up with satisfaction. "See? I told you she was trouble the moment she walked in." 3 officers burst through those hotel doors like they were responding to an armed robbery. Officer Thompson, aggressive and ready for confrontation, didn't even assess the situation. "Where's the little thief?" he barked. Not, "What's the situation?" Not, "Can someone explain what's happening?" Just, "Where's the little thief?" Maya was now terrified beyond words. "I'm not a thief, please." She was begging these adults to simply verify her story. That was all she wanted, for someone to call her mother. Officer Johnson's response would have made you sick. "Save it, kid. We've heard it all before." They had already decided she was guilty. A 12-year-old child. And they had already made up their minds. But then something happened that nobody in that lobby expected. The elevator opened. Every face in the lobby froze. The hotel staff, even everyone stopped and stared. Because something had clicked across that floor, telling them that their world was about to change forever. As we delve into the story, if you stand against injustice and prejudice, hit the subscribe button right now and type justice in the comments, because this story is about to get even more intense. What happened next would shock you to your core. Maya Williams, the remarkable young black girl, was intelligent beyond her years, always impeccably dressed, and carried herself with a quiet confidence that came from being raised by an extraordinary mother. But on this particular day, she was nervous. Not because she was doing anything wrong, but because she was excited about joining her mother on what she thought would be a simple business trip. Maya had a passion that most kids her age didn't share. She loved reading business magazines. While other children her age were scrolling through social media, Maya was studying Forbes and Harvard Business Review, dreaming of the day she would follow in her mother's footsteps. She carried a worn leather journal everywhere she went, filled with business ideas she'd scribbled down whenever inspiration struck. This wasn't just a hobby for Maya, it was her future. And she took it seriously. Now let me tell you about Ashley Roberts, the 26-year-old receptionist who made that fateful 911 call. Ashley had been working at the Grand Regency Hotel for 3 years, and she thought she knew everything about the hospitality business. But Ashley was quick to judge guests and loved to gossip about the people who walked through those doors. While Jessica Martinez, the hotel manager in Zimbabwe, at 34, had worked at the Grand Regency for 8 years and only valued customers who fit into her preferred clientele. But the most important person in this story is Victoria Williams, Maya's mother. At 38 years old, Victoria was the CEO and founder of Williams Hospitality Group, a company that owned over 200 hotels globally. What made Victoria's success even more remarkable was that she had built this empire from absolutely nothing. As a single mother who refused to let anyone tell her what she couldn't achieve. Victoria was elegant and composed in every situation, but there was one thing that could unleash a fury in her that few people had ever witnessed. Threatening her daughter. The morning of this incident started like any other day in Victoria's penthouse office in Manhattan. She was reviewing acquisition documents for the Grand Regency Hotel, a property that had caught her attention not because it was successful, but because it was failing. Customer satisfaction scores were declining, and Victoria was seriously considering firing the entire management team and starting fresh. She had no idea that in a few hours, she would have all the evidence she needed to make that decision. Victoria turned to her assistant Sarah and said something that would change everything. "Sarah, I want to do a surprise inspection of the Grand Regency today. Don't notify management. I'm bringing Maya, she's on winter break." Sarah, who knew Victoria's business style well, asked, "Should I arrange security?" Victoria's response revealed everything about her character. "No need. I want to see how they treat regular guests." Victoria Williams, one of the most powerful women in the hospitality industry, wanted to experience her potential new property the way any ordinary customer would. She had no idea she was about to discover something far worse than poor customer service. When Victoria and Maya arrived at the Grand Regency Hotel, Maya's excitement was infectious. "Mom, this place is incredible. Is this one of ours?" she asked, her eyes wide with wonder at the marble floors and crystal chandeliers. Victoria smiled at her daughter's enthusiasm. "Not yet, sweetheart, but it might be soon. I need to check on some things. Can you wait in the lobby while I meet with the current owner upstairs?" Maya, always eager to act grown-up, asked, "Can I order some snacks?" Victoria handed her daughter her platinum credit card without hesitation. "Of course. Here's my credit card. Order whatever you want. I'll be back in 30 minutes. "Thanks, Mom," Maya replied, clutching the card carefully and settling into one of the plush lobby chairs with her business journal. What happened next would haunt Victoria for the rest of her life. As she rode the elevator up to meet with the hotel owner, she had no idea that she was leaving her beloved daughter in the hands of people who would see her skin color before they saw her humanity. She had no idea that in the next 30 minutes, Ashley Roberts would look at Maya and see not a well-dressed, intelligent young girl, but a threat to be eliminated. Victoria Williams had spent her entire career breaking down barriers and proving that success had no color. She had built a hospitality empire based on the principle that everyone deserved to be treated with dignity and respect. But she was about to discover that not everyone in her industry shared those values. As Victoria walked into that business meeting, discussing profit margins and renovation plans, her daughter sat alone in the lobby below, about to become the victim of the very prejudices that Victoria had fought against her entire life. Maya sat in that lobby chair, completely unaware that her simple request for snacks was about to trigger a chain of events that would expose the ugly truth about how some people still saw black children in America. She was about to learn a lesson that no young child should ever have to learn, that some adults would judge her not by her character, her intelligence, or her politeness, but by the color of her skin. Now here's where this story takes a turn. Maya Williams, this sweet young girl, approached the front desk where Ashley Roberts, the receptionist, was working, completely unaware that she was about to walk into a nightmare. Ashley looked Maya up and down with immediate suspicion. The way she examined this child from head to toe told you everything you needed to know about what was going through her mind. "Can I help you?" Ashley asked, but her tone wasn't helpful at all. It was hostile. Maya, being the polite, well-raised child she was, responded with genuine sweetness. "Hi, could I order some food to the lobby area? My mom said it was okay." A simple request, a 12-year-old asking for snacks. But Ashley's response was dripping with condescension. "Your mom? And where exactly is she?" Ashley demanded, as if Maya was already lying about having a mother. Maya, still innocent and trusting, explained, "She's upstairs in a meeting with the hotel owner. She's buying this place." What happened next was disgusting. Ashley started laughing mockingly. "Oh really? How interesting. And what's your mom's name?" she asked, like she was interrogating a criminal. "Victoria Williams. She's the CEO of Williams Hospitality Group," Maya answered truthfully. Ashley's response was cruel and racist. And I'm Beyoncé. Look, sweetie, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but this isn't that kind of place." Maya was confused and hurt. "Game? I'm not playing any games. Here's my mom's credit card," she said, trying to prove her innocence. Ashley examined the card suspiciously, like she was some kind of fraud detective. Victoria Williams. Never heard of her. Where did you get this card? The accusation was clear. She was suggesting Maya had stolen it. Maya was getting upset now, tears forming in her eyes. My mom gave it to me. She told me to order food. But Ashley wasn't listening. She was already playing to an audience. Ashley turned to other guests nearby and said something that will make your blood boil. Can you believe this? These people think they can just walk in here and... These people. She was talking about a child, but she was really talking about black people in general. Maya, confused and hurt, asked, "What do you mean, these people?" Ashley's response was pure evil. "You know exactly what I mean. Little girls like you don't belong in places like this." She was telling a 12-year-old that her skin color made her unwelcome. Maya started crying. "I didn't do anything wrong," she pleaded, but Ashley was just getting started. Ashley called over to Jessica Martinez, the hotel manager. "Jessica, I need you over here, please." When Jessica approached, Ashley immediately painted Maya as the villain. "This kid is trying to use what I'm pretty sure is a stolen credit card, claims her mom is some big shot CEO. Jessica looked at Maya with the same dismissive attitude. "Is that right? And where is this supposed mother of yours?" Maya, still trying to tell the truth, said, "She's upstairs meeting with Mr. Harrison about buying the hotel." Jessica and Ashley exchanged knowing glances, like they were dealing with a master criminal instead of a child. "Mr. Harrison, the owner, right?" Jessica said sarcastically. Ashley was smug now. "See? The stories keep getting bigger. First it was just ordering food, now her mom is buying the whole hotel." They were treating Maya's consistency as evidence of lying, when it was actually proof she was telling the truth. The situation got worse when Ashley told Maya, "Look, I'm going to need you to sit over there while we figure out how you really got this card." She was treating Maya like a criminal suspect. Maya, desperate now, said, "Can you please just call my mom? She's in room 2012. Jessica checked her computer and said, "Room 2012 is Mr. Harrison's office. He's the owner. This kid is really pushing it." They were using Maya's accurate information as evidence against her. Ashley was getting more aggressive. "She's definitely lying. Probably saw him go up there and made up the story." Then she said something that revealed her true intentions. "Should I call the police? I don't feel safe with her here." Mrs. Patterson, another worker in the hotel, tried to intervene. She approached and said, "Excuse me, but this child seems distressed. Perhaps we should." But Ashley cut her off. "Ma'am, we have the situation under control. This child is trying to use a stolen credit card," Ashley said, shutting down any voice of reason. Mrs. Patterson asked a logical question. "Have you attempted to verify the card?" Jessica's response was telling. "We're handling it our way." They didn't want to verify anything because they had already decided Maya was guilty. Mrs. Patterson spoke up quietly. "Maybe we could just call the number on the card?" Ashley snapped at her. "Please, mind your own business. This is the reception's responsibility." She was actively preventing anyone from doing the right thing. Maya was crying harder now. "Please, just call my mom. Her name is Victoria Williams. She owns lots of hotels." Ashley's response was the cruelest yet. "Lots of hotels? Honey, I've been in this business for 3 years. I know every major hotel company. Your mom doesn't exist." She was telling a child that her mother didn't exist. Maya tried to call her mother herself, pulling out her phone, but Ashley grabbed it away. "No way. Not until we figure out what scam you're running." Jessica backed up Ashley's decision. "Ashley's right. We need to call the authorities." Ashley was triumphant now. She called on the old security guard, Tommy. Finally. "Tommy, can you watch her while I call 911? She said smugly. Tommy was uncomfortable. "Ashley, maybe we should," he tried to say, but Ashley cut him off. "Just do your job, Tommy," she commanded. Then came the moment that changed everything. Ashley picked up the phone and made the call that would destroy her life. 911? "Yes, I need police at the Grand Regency Hotel immediately. There's a suspicious black child in our lobby trying to use what appears to be a stolen credit card." Maya overheard and cried out, I'm not suspicious. Why are you saying that? But Ashley continued her lies. She's being very aggressive and making up stories about her mother. We need officers here right away. Jessica joined in the character assassination. Tell them she's claiming her mother's a CEO. Complete fabrication. Then Ashley said something that revealed the racism at the heart of this whole situation. The child is clearly from a different background than our usual clientele. The different background. Code words for being black. Ashley had just told the police that Maya didn't belong in their hotel because of her race. While Ashley was on that phone destroying a child's life with her lies, Maya sat in that lobby chair, tears streaming down her face, completely unaware that 30 floors above her, her mother was finishing up a business meeting and about to discover that her daughter had been traumatized by the very people she was about to employ. The police were on their way, convinced they were responding to a crime. But the only crime being committed was the destruction of a child's innocence by adults who saw her skin color before they saw her humanity. If you believe these adults were wrong to judge this little girl, hit the subscribe button and type yes in the comments as we continue the story. What happened next proved that the system was broken from top to bottom. 3 police officers burst through those hotel doors like they were responding to a bank robbery, not a child trying to order food. Leading the charge was Officer Thompson, a white officer with an aggressive demeanor who had clearly made up his mind before he even saw the situation. Behind him came Officer Rodriguez, a Hispanic officer who should have known better but chose to follow Thompson's lead, and Officer Johnson, another white officer whose dismissive attitude toward children was about to be exposed. Officer Thompson didn't assess the situation or try to understand what was happening. He immediately demanded, "What's the situation here?" Ashley was practically glowing with satisfaction. "Officers, thank goodness you're here. This child has been trying to use a stolen credit card and getting belligerent when we questioned her." Officer Thompson looked at Maya, this sobbing child, and his first instinct wasn't compassion. It was suspicion. "Is that right? What's your name, kid?" Maya, through her tears, gave the same truthful answer she had been giving all along. "Maya Williams. My mom is Victoria Williams. She's upstairs in a meeting. I didn't steal anything." Officer Rodriguez's response was disgusting. He rolled his eyes and said, "Victoria Williams? Let me guess, she's a doctor or lawyer too?" He was mocking the idea that a black child could have a successful mother. Officer Johnson was even worse. "These kids always have elaborate stories. Where'd you really get the card?" he said sarcastically. They had decided Maya was a liar before they even heard her story. Officer Thompson praised Ashley for calling them. "Good call bringing us in. Can't be too careful with these situations." Ashley was pleased with herself. "That's exactly what I thought. She doesn't belong here." Maya made one last desperate plea. "Please, just let me call my mom. She's right upstairs." A simple request that would have solved everything in 30 seconds. Officer Johnson shut her down immediately. "No calls until we figure out where you really got this card." This is where something beautiful happened. Mrs. Patterson, the elderly woman who had been watching this injustice unfold, finally stood up. "Officers, I've been watching this situation. This child has been nothing but polite. She was trying to be Maya's advocate when no one else would." But Officer Thompson dismissed her immediately. "Ma'am, we appreciate your concern, but we know how to handle this." David, a young front desk clerk, found a moment of courage. "Officers, I suggest we call the number on the card to verify." He was trying to offer a solution. Officer Rodriguez cut him off with condescension. "Son, we don't need tips on how to do our job." Officer Thompson started interrogating Maya like she was a hardened criminal. "Where do you really live, kid? What's your real story?" Maya was crying harder now, but she kept telling the truth. "I live in Manhattan with my mom. She owns hotels. She's CEO of Williams Hospitality Group." Officer Johnson turned to Ashley and asked, "Williams Hospitality Group? Ever heard of it?" Ashley, who had claimed to know every major hotel company, said, "Never." And I know every major hotel company. She's making it up." Officer Rodriguez shook his head. "These kids are getting more creative with their stories." Jessica piled on. "Officers, she's been lying since she got here. First it was just ordering food, then her mom was buying the hotel." Officer Thompson nodded. "Right, the stories keep getting bigger." Then came the moment that will make you sick to your stomach. Officer Thompson decided to arrest a 12-year-old child. "All right, kid, you're coming with us to the station. We'll sort this out there." Maya was terrified beyond words. "No, please. My mom is here. She's in the building," she screamed. Officer Johnson was dismissive. "Sure she is. Ashley, thanks for being vigilant." Ashley was smugly satisfied. "Just doing my job. Can't let these people think they can walk in here." But while this nightmare was unfolding in the lobby, something was happening 30 floors above that would change everything. Victoria Williams was wrapping up her meeting with Mr. Harrison, the hotel owner. She looked at her watch and realized she had been longer than expected. "I'll go check on Maya, and we can finalize this tomorrow," she told Mr. Harrison, gathering her papers. Victoria stepped into the elevator, completely unaware that her daughter was being arrested in the lobby below. As the elevator descended, she was thinking about the successful negotiation she had just concluded, even planning what she and Maya would do for dinner that night. The elevator bell chimed softly as it reached the ground floor. The doors began to open with a mechanical whisper that seemed to cut through the chaos in the lobby. A shadow appeared first, then the outline of a woman in an impeccably tailored suit. Victoria Williams stepped out of that elevator like she owned the world. Because in many ways, she did. Her presence commanded immediate attention, without her saying a single word. The click of her designer heels against the marble floor echoed through the lobby like a countdown to Judgment Day. She moved with the confidence of someone who had built an empire from nothing, someone who had never backed down from a fight, someone who had conquered boardrooms filled with men who thought they could intimidate her. But this wasn't about business anymore. This was about her daughter. Victoria's eyes swept the scene before her, taking in every detail with the sharp precision of a woman who had learned to read people and situations in milliseconds. She saw the police officers. She saw the hotel staff. She saw the tears on her daughter's face. And in that moment, everyone in that lobby was about to learn what real power looked like. The lobby fell silent, except for the sound of those heels clicking closer. Victoria Williams wasn't just walking across a hotel floor. She was walking into battle. And everyone who had hurt her daughter was about to face a reckoning they would never forget. When she finally spoke, her voice carried the authority of someone who controlled billions of dollars and the fury of a mother whose child had been wronged. "Maya," she said, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade. "What's happening here?" Maya tried to run to her mother, but Officer Thompson blocked her path. "Mom, they won't believe me. They think I stole your card," Maya cried. Officer Thompson, still drunk on his own power, held up his hand. "Hold on there, kid. Who's this?" Victoria's eyes locked onto Officer Thompson's with an intensity that made him take an involuntary step back. When she spoke, her voice was ice cold and commanding. "I'm her mother. Now get your hands off my daughter." The shock on Ashley's face was priceless. That's not possible," she stammered. But Victoria Williams wasn't just any mother walking into this situation. She was a woman who had built an empire, who had fought prejudice and discrimination her entire life, and who had just witnessed the system fail her daughter in the most devastating way possible. The reckoning was about to begin. If you were in Victoria's shoes and you saw your daughter being arrested for doing nothing, what would you have done? Subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. What happened next is the most shocking display of stubborn ignorance and racism you'll ever hear. Even faced with a powerful, articulate woman who clearly belonged in that luxury hotel, these officers and hotel staff refused to believe what was right in front of their eyes. Officer Thompson looked at Victoria with pure skepticism. "You're the mother? Can you prove that?" Victoria's response was filled with incredulous disbelief. Prove it. She's my daughter. What exactly is going on here? Ashley jumped in defensively, still trying to justify her actions. This kid was trying to use a stolen credit card. She claimed her mother was some big-shot CEO. Victoria's voice was calm but deadly serious. That credit card belongs to me. I'm Victoria Williams, CEO of Williams Hospitality Group. But they didn't believe her because of how simple she looked. Officer Johnson's dismissive response showed just how deep his prejudice ran. Right. And I'm the president. Look, lady, we need to see some ID. Ashley whispered to Jessica, her paranoia reaching new heights. She's probably an accomplice. They planned this together. Victoria pulled out her identification without hesitation. Here's my identification. Now explain to me why my daughter is being treated like a criminal. Officer Thompson barely glanced at the ID before dismissing it. Anyone can fake an ID. We're going to need more proof than that. Ashley was insistent, doubling down on her ignorance. Officers, I've never heard of Williams Hospitality Group. I know every major hotel company. Jessica backed up her employee. Ashley's right. She's very knowledgeable about the industry. Officer Rodriguez continued the assault on Maya's character. The kid probably found the card and made up the whole story. Victoria had heard enough. Her voice turned ice cold. Officers, I want your badge numbers. Now. Officer Thompson became aggressive when challenged. Ma'am, you need to calm down. We're just doing our job. Victoria's response cut through his authority like a knife. Your job? Your job is to protect and serve, not terrorize a 12-year-old child. Ashley had the audacity to try to put Victoria in her place. Look, I don't know who you think you are, but you can't just come in here and... Victoria cut her off with devastating authority. I know exactly who I am. The question is, do you? Officer Rodriguez revealed his true feelings about race and class. Look, we get calls like this all the time. Kids from certain neighborhoods? Victoria wasn't about to let that slide. Certain neighborhoods? What exactly are you implying? Officer Johnson tried to defend their obvious bias. We're just being realistic here. Then the game changer arrived. Mr. Harrison stepped off the elevator, having heard the commotion from his office above. Victoria, I heard voices. Oh my God, what's happening? The moment Mr. Harrison said Victoria's name with such familiarity, you could see the blood drain from every face in that lobby. Ashley's confident smirk disappeared instantly. Jessica's defensive posture crumbled. Even Officer Thompson's aggressive stance faltered. Victoria turned to him with controlled fury. Richard, these officers are accusing my daughter of credit card theft, and your staff called them. Mr. Harrison was shocked beyond words. Officers, this is Victoria Williams. She's purchasing this hotel. We just finished our meeting upstairs. The silence that followed was deafening. Ashley looked like she was about to be sick. Jessica's mouth hung open in horror. Officer Thompson's face went from red with anger to white with terror. She's really... Ashley stammered, unable to finish the sentence. Mr. Harrison looked at his staff with disgust. You called the police on Victoria Williams? Are you out of your minds? Officer Rodriguez was the first to realize the magnitude of what they had done. Sir, we didn't know. You didn't know because you didn't bother to verify anything, Mr. Harrison exploded. You saw a black child and immediately assumed she was a criminal. Jessica tried to speak, but her voice came out as a whisper. Mr. Harrison, we were just being careful. Careful? Mr. Harrison's voice rose. You harassed one of the most powerful women in the hospitality industry and traumatized her daughter. Ashley was visibly shaking now. I didn't know. She said Williams Hospitality Group, but I never heard of. You never heard of it because you're ignorant. Mr. Harrison snapped. Williams Hospitality Group owns over 200 hotels. Victoria Williams is one of the most successful CEOs in America. Because she doesn't like social appearance, doesn't mean she doesn't exist. The officers exchanged terrified glances. Officer Thompson's aggressive demeanor had completely evaporated. Ma'am, if we had known who you were, Victoria's voice was ice cold. If you had known who I was. So you only treat people with respect if they're rich and powerful? What about every other child who doesn't have a mother like me? The truth of her words hit everyone like a sledgehammer. They had revealed their true character, and there was no taking it back. Mr. Harrison pulled out his phone with shaking hands. "Victoria, I'm calling Chief Martinez right now. This is completely unacceptable." Ashley was crying now, finally understanding that her career was over. Jessica looked like she was in shock. The officers stood frozen, knowing they had just destroyed their own futures. Victoria turned to Mr. Harrison with deadly calm. "Richard, I want these officers and your staff investigated. What they did to my daughter today was unforgivable." Mr. Harrison immediately started dialing. "Absolutely, this is completely unacceptable." The phone rang once before Chief Martinez answered. "Harrison, what's the emergency?" Harrison's voice was shaking with anger. "Chief, your officers are harassing Victoria Williams and her daughter at my hotel." There was a pause that seemed to last forever. Then Chief Martinez's voice exploded through the speaker. "Victoria Williams? The CEO of Williams Hospitality Group? Are you kidding me?" Officer Thompson's voice was suddenly nervous. "Chief, we were just investigating a potential theft." Chief Martinez cut him off with barely controlled fury. "Thompson, you and your team stand down immediately." "Miss Williams, I apologize profusely." Ashley whispered to Jessica in horror. "This can't be happening." But it was happening. The woman they had dismissed, the child they had terrorized, the family they had humiliated, they were about to discover that actions have consequences, and some consequences change your life forever. Victoria's voice was steady and filled with the promise of justice. "Chief Martinez, I want a full investigation into how these officers and your hotel staff treated my daughter." At that moment, everyone in that lobby realized that they hadn't just made a mistake. They had made an enemy of one of the most powerful women in the hospitality industry, and she was about to show them exactly what that meant. The phone call Harrison made brought Chief Martinez racing to the hotel faster than anyone expected. When he arrived, his face was red with embarrassment and fury at what his officers had done. You could see the weight of leadership on his shoulders as he realized that his department had just traumatized a child and humiliated one of the most powerful business leaders in the country. "Miss Williams, I cannot express how sorry I am. This behavior is completely unacceptable," Chief Martinez said, his voice heavy with genuine remorse. Victoria's response was measured but devastating. Every word was carefully chosen to cut through any excuse or justification. "Chief, your officers made assumptions about my daughter based on her race. They refused to verify her story and terrorized a child." Officer Thompson, still clinging to his misguided sense of righteousness, tried to defend himself one last time. "We were just following protocol based on the information we received." Chief Martinez cut him off with the finality of a judge delivering a verdict. "Thompson, you're suspended pending investigation, all three of you." The weight of those words hung in the air like a death sentence to their careers. Officer Johnson couldn't believe what was happening. His world was crumbling around him. "This is ridiculous. We were doing our jobs based on what the hotel staff told us." Ashley was panicking now, her voice shaking as she realized the magnitude of what she had done. "I was just being careful. I thought she was lying." Chief Martinez's response was swift and clear, cutting through decades of institutionalized bias. Being careful doesn't mean racially profiling children. The consequences came fast and hard, like dominoes falling in a devastating chain reaction. Mr. Harrison turned to Ashley with ice in his voice, his disappointment and anger palpable. "Ashley, you're terminated immediately. Pack your things." Ashley was pleading now, tears streaming down her face as her career and livelihood evaporated before her eyes. "Mr. Harrison, please. I was protecting the hotel. I didn't know." Victoria's response cut through Ashley's excuses like a blade forged from truth and righteous anger. "You didn't know because you never bothered to verify. You saw a black child and assumed the worst." Ashley was crying harder now, her voice breaking as she tried to salvage some dignity from the wreckage of her actions. "I'm not racist. I was just doing my job." Victoria's voice was calm but firm, delivering a lesson that Ashley would remember for the rest of her life. Your job was customer service. What you did was discrimination. Mr. Harrison wasn't finished dispensing justice. His disappointment in his management team was evident in every word. Jessica, as manager, you should have handled this better. You're also terminated. Jessica was desperate, watching her career crumble before her eyes, thinking of her own children at home. Sir, I was following Ashley's lead. I have kids to support. Victoria's response showed no mercy, because mercy wasn't what justice required in this moment. So does my daughter. She has to live with the trauma you caused. The lobby had become a courtroom, and Victoria Williams was both judge and jury, delivering verdicts that would change lives forever. But the harshest judgment was reserved for those who had hurt her child, and the most important conversation was still to come. Victoria knelt down to Maya's level, her expensive suit touching the marble floor as she looked into her daughter's eyes with all the love a mother could have. This was the moment that mattered most, not the business deals or the justice being served, but healing her daughter's wounded spirit. Sweetheart, I'm so sorry this happened to you, Victoria said, her voice gentle but strong. Maya's innocent question broke everyone's heart and revealed the true cost of the afternoon's events. Mom, why did they treat me like that? I was telling the truth the whole time. Victoria's answer was perfect, honest without being overwhelming, educational without being preachy. Because some people let prejudice cloud their judgment. They saw your skin color and made assumptions. Maya asked the question that every parent dreads, the question that revealed how this experience had already changed her view of the world. Will it happen again? Victoria's response was both honest and empowering, preparing her daughter for reality while building her confidence. It might. But remember, you belong anywhere you want to be. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. Maya's next question was even more heartbreaking, revealing the depth of her fear and vulnerability. What if you hadn't come down? Victoria's answer showed the strength of their bond and the foundation of trust that would carry them through any challenge. Then we would have fought it together. But you did nothing wrong, baby. Nothing. The people who had witnessed this injustice began to approach them, each carrying their own guilt and need for redemption. Mrs. Patterson came forward first, her elderly frame moving with dignity and purpose. I witnessed everything. Your daughter was a perfect angel. I'm ashamed of how she was treated. Victoria's gratitude was genuine, recognizing the courage it took for Mrs. Patterson to speak up. Thank you for speaking up. It means everything that you stood by her. David, the young front desk clerk, approached nervously, his conscience heavy with the weight of his initial inaction. Miss Williams, I'm so sorry I didn't do more earlier. I was scared of losing my job. Victoria's response was understanding but firm, offering both forgiveness and a lesson for the future. David, fear is understandable, but next time, be brave enough to do what's right from the start. Tommy, the security guard, came over with his head down, his shame evident in every step. Miss Williams, I should have stopped this sooner. I have daughters of my own. Victoria's response showed her character and her understanding of human nature. Tommy, I appreciate that. Use this experience to be better. Despite everything that had happened, despite the trauma inflicted on her daughter, Victoria still wanted to buy the hotel. This wasn't about revenge, it was about transformation. Richard, I'm still buying the hotel, but I want immediate changes. Mr. Harrison was eager to make amends, knowing that Victoria's leadership could transform not just this property, but the entire industry. Whatever you need. I'm mortified by what happened here today. Victoria's demands were comprehensive, designed to prevent this from ever happening again. Bias training for all staff, new hiring practices, clear protocols for handling these situations, and a scholarship fund in Maya's name. Mr. Harrison agreed immediately, recognizing the wisdom and justice in her requirements. Done, and I'm promoting David to manager. He showed integrity when it mattered. David was shocked, his face lighting up with surprise and gratitude. Really? Thank you, Miss Williams. I won't let you down. Victoria's response was encouraging, showing her ability to recognize potential even in difficult circumstances. I know you won't. You have good instincts. Trust them. Then Victoria did something that shocked everyone in that lobby. She turned to Ashley and Jessica, the two women who had traumatized her daughter, and offered them something extraordinary. I'm going to offer you both something you don't deserve. Ashley was surprised and confused, not understanding how Victoria could extend any kindness after what had happened. What? Victoria's offer was extraordinary, revealing the depth of her character and her belief in human potential. A second chance. There are positions at my other hotels. After you complete extensive bias training, community service, and prove you've learned from this. Jessica couldn't understand it. Couldn't comprehend how someone could be so generous after such cruelty. Why would you help us after what we did to your daughter? Victoria's explanation revealed her true character and the values that had built her empire. Because I believe people can change, and because your children deserve mothers who've learned from their mistakes. Ashley was tearful and grateful, overwhelmed by the generosity of someone she had wronged so deeply. I don't know what to say. Thank you. Victoria's response was profound, showing how wisdom and compassion could transform even the darkest situation. Don't thank me. Thank Maya. She's the one who convinced me that everyone deserves a second chance. But what Victoria didn't know was that their story was just beginning to unfold. Mrs. Patterson, the elderly guest who had witnessed everything, had been recording parts of the incident on her phone. That evening, she uploaded the video to social media with a caption that would change everything. This is what courage looks like, a mother's love and a daughter's strength in the face of injustice. The video went viral overnight. Within hours, it had been shared millions of times. The hashtag Maya's bravery began trending worldwide. People were outraged by what they saw, a 12-year-old girl being treated like a criminal for the color of her skin. Victoria's phone started ringing at 6 in the morning. The first call was from CNN. Miss Williams, this is Anderson Cooper's office. We'd like to interview you about what happened at the Grand Regency Hotel. The calls didn't stop. NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox News, BBC, and dozens of other news outlets wanted to tell Maya's story. Victoria's assistant Sarah was overwhelmed. Victoria, you have over 300 interview requests. Victoria looked at Maya, who was reading the supportive comments pouring in from around the world. What do you think, sweetheart? Do you want to tell your story? Maya's response showed the strength she had inherited from her mother. Yes, Mom. If it helps other kids, then yes. The interviews began that afternoon. Maya and Victoria sat side by side telling their story with grace and dignity. Maya's composure impressed everyone who watched. When the interviewer asked her how she felt during the incident, Maya's answer brought tears to viewers' eyes. I was scared and confused. I didn't understand why they wouldn't believe me when I was telling the truth. But my mom taught me that being scared doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're human. The story sparked a national conversation about racial profiling, particularly involving children. Civil rights organizations praised Victoria's handling of the situation. The NAACP released a statement. Victoria Williams has shown us how to respond to injustice with both strength and grace. Her daughter Maya is an inspiration to children everywhere. The pressure on the police department was immense. Within a week, Chief Martinez announced that all 3 officers involved would face disciplinary hearings. Officer Thompson was ultimately fired. Officers Rodriguez and Johnson were suspended without pay and required to complete extensive retraining. Ashley and Jessica found themselves at the center of a media storm. Their names and faces were all over the internet. Ashley received death threats and had to move in with her sister. Jessica's children were bullied at school. The consequences of their actions extended far beyond losing their jobs. But Victoria meant what she had said about second chances. 3 months later, she personally called both women. The offer still stands, she told them. If you're genuinely ready to change, I'm ready to help you do it. Ashley broke down crying on the phone. Miss Williams, I've been in therapy. I'm learning about my own biases. I want to be better. Jessica was equally emotional. I've been volunteering at a community center in a predominantly Black neighborhood. I'm seeing how my assumptions were wrong about everything. Victoria's response was characteristic of her leadership. Change is a process, not a destination. If you're committed to that process, then we can work together. The story continued to have ripple effects throughout the hospitality industry. Major hotel chains began implementing new training programs. The American Hotel and Lodging Association created the Maya Williams Standard, a set of protocols designed to prevent discrimination in hospitality settings. Maya became an unlikely spokesperson for children's rights. She was invited to speak at schools and community centers. Her message was simple but powerful. Every child deserves to be treated with respect. Every child deserves to be believed when they tell the truth. The scholarship fund established in Maya's name grew beyond anyone's expectations. Donations poured in from around the world. Within a year, it had raised over $2 million to support education for underprivileged children. Victoria used her platform to address systemic issues in the hospitality industry. She testified before Congress about the need for federal anti-discrimination training requirements. Her testimony was watched by millions. What happened to my daughter wasn't an isolated incident, Victoria told the congressional committee. It was a symptom of a larger problem. We can't just punish individual acts of discrimination. We have to change the culture that allows them to happen. The Grand Regency Hotel became a model for inclusive hospitality. Under David's management, it achieved the highest customer satisfaction ratings in its history. The diverse staff that Victoria had insisted on hiring brought new perspectives and ideas that improved service for everyone. Maya returned to school with a new sense of purpose. She started a club called Young Voices for Justice, where students could discuss issues of fairness and equality. Her teachers were amazed by her maturity and leadership. 6 months later, Maya and Victoria returned to the Grand Regency Hotel. The transformation was remarkable, like stepping into a completely different world. David was thriving as the new manager, leading a diverse, well-trained staff who understood that hospitality meant welcoming everyone. Ashley and Jessica were working at other Williams hotels, having completed their training and community service, genuinely changed by their experience and grateful for the second chance they had been given. The lobby that had once echoed with the sounds of injustice now buzzed with the energy of genuine hospitality. The plaque reading Williams Hospitality Group, where everyone belongs, had become more than just words. It was a promise that was being kept every day. Victoria's voiceover reflected on the journey, the pain and the growth, the justice and the mercy. Change is difficult, but it's possible. Today my daughter didn't just face injustice. She saw it challenged, confronted, and overcome. But more than that, she learned that her voice could make a difference. Maya's voiceover showed her growth from victim to victor, from wounded child to empowered young woman. I learned that being different isn't wrong, that some people will judge me, but that doesn't define me, and that my mom will always fight for me. But I also learned that I can fight for myself and for others. Ashley's voiceover revealed her transformation, the genuine change that had occurred in her heart and mind. I learned that my assumptions hurt people, real people, and that I had to change to be better. Miss Williams gave me a second chance, and I won't waste it. The final shot showed Maya and Victoria in the lobby with the diverse staff and the plaque that had become a symbol of hope. The marble floors that had once echoed with the sounds of injustice now reflected the light of change and possibility. Victoria looked at her daughter with pride, seeing not just the child she had always loved, but the young woman who had emerged from this trial stronger and more determined. Maya, ready to help me run this empire? Maya's response was confident and hopeful, her voice carrying the strength of someone who had faced adversity and emerged victorious. Ready, Mom. Let's make sure every child feels safe and welcome. Victoria's final words captured the essence of their mission and the legacy they would build together. That's my girl. Let's change the world, one hotel at a time. This story showed us that while prejudice and discrimination still exist, they can be challenged and overcome when people have the courage to stand up for what's right. It showed us that second chances matter, that change is possible, and that sometimes the most powerful force in the world is a mother's love for her child. Maya Williams walked into that hotel as a 12-year-old girl asking for snacks. She left as a young woman who had seen the worst of humanity, but also witnessed the power of justice, forgiveness, and hope. Her story became a catalyst for change, not just in one hotel, but in an entire industry, proving that sometimes the most important revolutions begin with a single act of courage and a mother's unwavering love. But Maya's story didn't end that day. It became a beacon of hope for children everywhere, showing them that their voices matter, that truth has power, and that even in the darkest moments, there are people who will stand up for what's right. Maya Williams had found her voice, and the world was listening. If you enjoyed this story, like, subscribe, and share with others so they can learn too. See you in our next video.